Can't believe it's come to this again. Carbys have to come off. I've unblocked the fuel tap. The screen had lots of settlement in it. I'm looking through the book last night because I haven't slept, and I'm like, It says there's a filter where the needle is for the needle and seat off the float. I'm like, I wonder whether this one still has them. Failing that, it must be the secondaries if it's not, because the high speed jet. Because I can barely do 100. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. If I pull the bi-starters open, I'm not sure what avenue that opens though. Gets a little bit more power. So I'm a little bit miffed. Anyhow, it's not long to pull these out anyway. You start with that screw, or that nut. Well, and you can pull the fuel line off. Now you got to undo the tap. Tap goes with the tank. Unless you've got no fuel in it, but tap goes with the tank. Total lie. That one's for the airbox. I don't think you actually need to undo it. Or do you? Yeah, you do. That one, and that one. Then you take these 4 screws out. 4 or is there a 6? I can't remember. No, there's 6. 3 there, 3 down the front. And then you undo the airbox underneath, off the Carbys. So be prepared to lose your synchronisation. You undo the throttle cables once you get that box off. But before you pull that box out, you've got to undo the thermostat here. And there's an earth wire that goes onto that too. And then you start by undoing your clamps that hold your Carbys on. Just back them all the way off. And with that box removed, you can wiggle them and they pop out. And then that's when the fun starts, when you put it back on. Nothing's the same, so, well, it might be similar. It might be close. I'm hoping it goes back close. And then you have to resynchronize everything. But anyway, better get to it or else I won't get it done. So at this point, make sure you've got a nice fitting screwdriver to undo these. And hopefully they're not super tight, because they do cop a bit of a flogging. Try not to drop them. I guess it really doesn't matter at this point, because you're pulling them off. And as long as you've got no venturi stuck open, no slides. That one slides nicely now. So is that one. Well, that wasn't my issue. That's alright, I didn't think it was. So I've got dirt in jets or something. Alright, we'll find out shortly. Alright, now gently pry. And you may or may not come with the dowel. Okay, one dowel stayed in the carby. It's no biggie because they're going back in the same spot. That O-ring though, that should probably stay with the carby. But for now, we know where it is. So this is the bits and pieces you'll have. Top half of the airbox itself. Well, main carby box. Stick that in there. Locking tabs, they bent coming out. And I didn't do them up very tight last time I did this. So then you want to remove your bi-starters as well, which I forgot to say before. One's on that side. Where'd the other one go? Right there. These actually are 14mm, but they're plastic, so be very gentle on them when you're doing them back up. They just have to be hand tight. Well, finger tight. And I found, let's get around the other side if I can. I found that sometimes pulling that off so that you've got a bit of slack cable, and sometimes pulling that out the way too, if you like. Oh, it's tight. Yeah, and the 14, I didn't bring one out. Okay, so you undo that one. There's one hiding under there. And then you undo your throttle cables. And I think I cheat. I undo this bottom one. And I undo the top one here on the return cable. Whichever one pulls. Yeah, that's right. So that I don't lose my adjustment, I undo this bottom one. And then I flick it off. Screw the nut back on. Because it gets in your way to unhook it from the carby. And then yeah, I back this one off. And that allows me to back that one off afterwards. And then you pull that out. And I don't think you have to back that one off very far, there's not much holding it in. Misled you all. I undo the top whilst holding the bottom, not to move this one too far, and it actually just slips out. So yeah. And then you need your 10mm. If this is shaky, just remember I'm holding this on my phone, because that bottom nut I think is locked by the looks of that. And you undo this just far enough, same deal. It's only been a little bit since I've done this, and you just flick it out like that. And then you get to fight with them. Now what's that? Oh, that's the bi-starter. Now what you can do is you can pull that back through a bit and wedge that out of your way. What do I normally do? I think I just stick it over the top there like that. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do this with one hand. I'm not even going to try. You've got to pop that out of there. Actually, I almost reckon you can get that with once you just lift them out a bit. If you can't get them already, I think I usually take the top one off though. But anywho, I might try that. But you got to undo now these clamps. One for that carby. So you undo both of them. Don't just undo the one, undo both. Because if it wants to come off easier off at the rest of the manifold, then it will. And same with that one there. Undo both. Otherwise you'll break something. Especially when they're getting this old. Although I did see manifolds on eBay. They're Chinese, but I suppose they'd be alright. And there you have your carbies. One of them stayed with here, so I suggest you take it off and put it back on before you forget where you had your clamps and where it come off of. Well, not where it come off of, but the fact that where you had your clamps positioned, because you can only get to them one way. Usually they're all that way. I moved my hand, my bad. And these ones are turned around here, but as I was loosening them off I turned them around so I could see these nuts. Now, always got to take this off first. I was watching some guy do a Sabre, an 82 Sabre, because I was keen on maybe getting one, because I know there's one for wrecking. But whether it's complete enough to repair, who knows. And he didn't undo these and left this on and tried wiggling 4 carbies out with that on. And like, it's tight on all bikes, let alone a V4 Sabre. It was a VF750S that he was working on. I'm just like, yeah, nah, save yourself a bit of grief. Yes, they'll probably come out of sync. Yes, you might pull this linkage apart. On the bigger bikes, I think you can actually pull. There's a carby wedged in. The two side by side ones are wedged in here, and sometimes you can flop that out. Whereas with this one, you've only got the two, so that doesn't come out so easily at all. And the best way to split these up is either take one of these out. I think I'll take that one out by the looks of it, because it's got a piece of MIG wire through it. So there you go. And I'm betting my problem, hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. They started leaking again. It's almost worth not putting them back together without a gasket kit. I got sealant on there. Aviation sealant. Like your Permatex number 3. Oh well, let's have a look inside, eh? A bastard. That there was a perfect cylinder. That was in the first carby. Main fuel inlet. It's like varnish and stuff. Because I'm certain that none of these jets are dirty. But I'll pull them out and have a look. I'm here now. I've pulled it all apart for what seems to be what I probably could have got out by pulling the main inlet off. I still haven't checked where it goes from carby to carby yet, so because there is a little screen in there. Anyway, I'll just have a look, see. There's a little screen. That's your needle and seat. Well, it's your seat for your needle. Don't get lost with how many washers you got on, because that'll change your float level. Put everything back the way you found it. So yes, there was some crap there, and I shall be cleaning that up. And don't get Carbys confused. I suppose that would be different too. One at a time. One at a time. I'll show you something with this low speed jet. Focus. I think I will. You want to make sure there's little holes. Oh, what the hell is wrong with this camera? They've all turned the shit lately. Anyway, you want to make sure the little holes, when you look at them, are clean, as well as the main hole through the guts. So, which this one is. It's good. It's as clean as the day I pulled it out. There you go. Now it focuses. So yeah, you want to turn it sideways. Look at that. Even you can see through that. And then, if you look real close, you can see the tin through there. I've just washed things with that because it's easier for me, because I'm working under the veranda. But it's clean. It's one way, cheapest way of getting the shit out. So that by starter's a pain, but yeah, you'll get it. Be sure to roll the little, I'll show you on this one because I can show you. Be sure to roll that back over. The other thing you can do, I find it gives it too much resistance, but I quite often pull them on a bit. Anyway, do what you feel's easy. Set this up now. This is the only opportunity you'll get. Leave these loose and put the top back on. Make sure you got all your O-rings. I'm going to put mine back in, but I'm going through and doing the bi-starters first because I can, and I'll show you how tight to do them. So you put the bugger in. And you give him a start, which is sometimes fun because the spring tension pushes back on you. So if you got strong fingers, you get a spanner, literally like just up, and then you push that back over. Sometimes they can be a pain. Make sure they're all nice and straight. Put this back on before I forget, otherwise I'll be wondering why I'm down a cylinder. And then, yeah, they obviously all work. Not that you can tell. So O-ring, top cover, bolt top cover down tight to the Carbys, and then do these up. Yeah. Now how do I get to that one? Good question. I think I can get to that with the cover on. I can't remember. I'll check. Okay, I was right. So you muscle this in by hand, getting all the dowels to line up and make sure you don't push your O-rings out and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, you get to those two, down through there, big long screwdriver, and you do everything up once this is done up. And hopefully your carbies will go back to somewhat of synchronisation as to where you had them, hopefully. Okay, so you've done those up, not ridiculously tight, but firm. Remembering you got to get them undone. Hopefully next time this happens, someone else is doing it. Tabs, push them over, just in case they do vibrate loose, for security, peace of mind. Because when that's wide open, I guess that's direct route into the into the back of the valve. If it makes it good, I don't think it'll make it past the valve, but hell, it sure as hell wouldn't be pretty, because it sure as hell leave the valve open and make it hit the piston, and that sure as hell wouldn't be pretty. Anyway, and then you go and tighten these suckers up. No one's going to watch me do that, because I'm going to do that off air. I skipped a few parts there. Yeah, obviously bolt that back on. Slot this in, your airbox. Slot those in, get them started, but don't do them up. Get this one started. Make sure it's all in, give it a bit of a thump. It's got to sit in a square recess. And then start doing it all up. Just do them up. It's no particular order, just do them up. Same deal with them, just do them up. Don't go over crazy on them, it's all plastic. You'll and it's only little threads. You'll snap them. Don't be crazy. Now I'm ready for the tank. I haven't synchronised it yet, so I'll take it for a spin. Back one's working harder than the front one now. So yeah. Anyway, go for a ride, see if it's cured the problem, and then worry about synchronising it later. Sadly, it's helped, but it didn't seem to fix the problem. I'm skeptical of the vacuum shut-off valve on the tap, because when you've got an engine open so far, it starts to not make vacuum, and it might be actually shutting the diaphragm on the tap. Maybe. Just a thought. Because I don't know. Or possibly the diaphragm leaks and it's not holding it open far enough, so as the vacuum decreases because the throttle's wide open, maybe it's shutting. It's complicated. But yeah, we'll keep riding it and just it does 80 k's, it does 100 just sometimes, 90, 100. It's time to slow down and enjoy the ride anyway, and just soak in the scenery. So yeah, and it's look, seriously, it's too old. If you do stack it, I don't know, I can't see any spare parts on the interweb, so we've probably got the last spare parts without going to another bike wrecker in Adelaide, or finding another one that's trash. So like, yeah, and it might come good in its own time too. But it wasn't a waste of time pulling it apart, because yeah, you saw the crap that come out of it. So yeah, I'm not complaining. And I did synchronise it, I think. It's hard to know, I think. Anyway, out for now.